if you spent all this time searching for and defining this person and this role, and you hired someone that has the skill set, letting go and getting out of the way and letting them do what they do best for you, which may be better than you could have done for yourself, right? We all have our own strengths and weaknesses. The entrepreneur may and often isn't the best like business operations person, right? So getting out of the way and again, letting people really provide the value that they're there to provide and empowering them to do that.
Our guest today is helping businesses realize the true potential of a strategic HR function. She's a strategically minded HR professional that believes in the effectiveness of a strong partnership between human resources and other key business functions to align people, processes, procedures, and strategies with business objectives. Welcome to the show, the founder of Ally HR Partners, Emily Martin.
Hi, nice to be here.
Emily, thank you so much for being patient with me. It's been 2 months since we've officially met, and we both have the Buffalo Love. That's why I'm wearing the Choose Love Buffalo Love shirt today, because you're in Buffalo.
Yes.
We met at an awesome event. Shout out to Marie Rochelle, really, because she's the one who set it all up. And it was for the Freelance Buffalo and Beyond event, which was a lot of fun. So I've been excited to have you on the show. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, well, I know HR is probably at the top of everyone's list of exciting topics. So,
well, here's the thing. I was telling you off camera. I don't believe we went real far yet on Mike DiCioccio. We have over 100. We have 140 episodes as we record today out, and it is a top. Every business needs it, has it, needs to improve on it. You're somewhere along the process of having HR. If you don't have it at all, this is for you. If you have it and you want to make it better, this episode's for you. So really. We have a solid group of young entrepreneurs who tune in on the regular for the show. Also, I've looked at our statistics. It's really like a 25 to 55 year age gap is really the prime listenership of Mike Up. And it's pretty split 50-50 guy and girl. So we have a great audience, diverse audience, mostly from the States, but it's cool to see our numbers expand all over the world. And so I know that you're going to be helping a lot of people. And really, I joked about this off camera too. Myself first, because I always need help with this stuff. And I come to you with kind of the wrong, I don't know if connotation is the right word, but the wrong understanding or thought process of what HR is, just because it was never really presented to me properly through corporate America.
Sure.
So there's a lot we can talk about. And I actually made your website and all of your social media that people can connect with you on. Like you're on LinkedIn the most, I would say, right? So you're on LinkedIn. People can tune into you there. Your website. I love your website. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So thank you guys for being with us. If you're here with us on YouTube or Apple, Spotify, however you're tuning in, thank you so much for doing that. Hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're on, and then turn your notifications on. So awesome episodes like this with Emily here can come your way once they do come out. So we're going to dive into some of Emily's background and really what I want to learn about. Talked about Ally as her company, Ally HR Partners. When did Ally really first get planted in your heart? And if you can share the story on how you grew that company into what it is today. I know that's a long story, but however you want to hit on some of those awesome steps on the ladder.
Yeah. Well, so like most people, right, I started my career on like a traditional path where I've always worked in HR, but it was mostly in-house HR for businesses, working for one business in an HR department. From there, I kind of always had the entrepreneur spirit in me. I didn't, I'm a kind of buck the system kind of person. And although HR is very much about following rules and laws, it's also, there's a lot of gray area when it comes to people, as you can imagine. Dealing with people, HR is pretty gray, actually, although laws are black and white. Every situation involves different responses. So I found myself kind of changing jobs every year or two just from getting bored and kind of stagnant and kind of wanting to shake things up. Found myself in a position working for another small local business here in Buffalo running a team of HR consultants. And that's when I really got exposed to what kind of value this could provide to, local small business owners, startups who everyone has this need, right? Everyone has people working for them, whether it's independent contractors who aren't technically employees yet or employees people are in every business, right? They're making everything happen. So everyone has this need, but people are either terrified of how to deal with things because they don't want to get in trouble, or they don't know what the laws are, or they just really take it for granted, right? And don't understand like just a couple tweaks in how you talk to people, or different questions you ask when you hire, and things could go such a long way with really getting the right people in the door, but then the value that those people are providing for your business. So I worked for that business for a couple years, but I wanted to do more and provide more. They were more about kind of checking the box and doing some more of the administrative HR stuff. So and then by meeting so many business owners, I realized, hey, like these people, really the difference between them and me is just that they did this, right? Like they're not necessarily smarter than me, that kind of stuff. And so it gave me the confidence to say, I can do this. And that's when I took the leap about 2 years ago now to start my own consulting business and do it on my own. And that's where I am today. It's going
awesome.
Great.
Yeah, you took the skills that you learned kind of more on the corporate landscape. You felt this kind of tug at your heart that this was your gift, and it's one that a lot of people don't enjoy talking about. So it's like I in a past life I sold life insurance. It kind of feels like that, where people need it. It's super important. It's important to have the serious conversations about it, but nobody really likes to go in and do that. I kind of what I was going to say. I mentioned at the top of the show that I have kind of the wrong understanding. Growing up and getting into work and different environments, mostly corporate environments when I was younger, and now it's all mostly entrepreneurial, is that HR, to me, was always kind of like viewed like the principal's office in school. Like you respect it, but you don't want to have to visit it, right? You don't want to have to go into that room, the HR room or the HR wing of the business. And I know it's so much more than that, right? So I want you to share some of the key functions that HR does that people may not think about on the surface. And I know that your tagline or your description of yourself, really your title on LinkedIn, is a people coach for your people matters. So I know you're super tied into people, and no matter what, whether it's a big business, a small business, the number one asset or liability of a company is people. So let's drive that home. Talk about the importance of people within an organization, and what key functions does an HR department bring that most people don't think about?
Yeah. I mean, it is viewed as kind of like, you're right, like the school marm, or like, the red tape of an organization. And, that is what HR is in a lot of organizations. And that's all it's allowed to be, frankly, in some situations. So it is like risk mitigation is part of it, right? Understanding the laws around employment related matters, which, there's more being passed basically on a daily basis at this point, especially in New York State. So you have to understand that part of it so you can operate, within those and around those, and make sure that the business isn't, being put at risk and managers aren't saying things that they shouldn't say. But, really the other side of it, which is the value add side, which I think is, why I started Ally HR Partners, is the value add side. And the word ally is in the name of the business for a reason, because we are technically on the side of the employer, right? And we want to be an ally to the employer to help empower them to be better employers, which means helping them be better and more compliant so they don't get in trouble. But, finding this middle ground between, really it's holding people accountable, right? Who you hire, which is obviously a part of the equation in any employment situation, but also, having compassion and driving things like engagement and understanding these are people. And if you want to get value out of them and to have them do the best job that, they can do for you, that you need to give something back as well. So usually working with clients and businesses, they're falling on some spectrum of like, kind of having their employees run all over the business, but maybe also then on the other spectrum of like just being like not considerate, compassionate employers that realize their employees are people. And we try to coach them back to the center so both people and both parties can benefit.
Yeah, I like that you focus on the idea of coaching opposed to kind of like a regimented structure. Like the principal doesn't seem like a coach. That seems like a disciplinarian. But you come as a coach. Hey, we're working with you. We're working with your people. Once you bring someone on board, we want to make sure that they have a great experience. Hey, you're looking to bring someone on board. We want to make sure that people have a good experience interacting with your brand from day one of really sourcing them and recruiting. I know you have like 6 major services and kind of each of those web into other areas. I was scoping your website out. I thought it was very impressive. You guys do a lot more than I realized HR companies do, and that may be that's your thing, because you guys know that it's much more than just running the HR of a company. I
Yeah.
think that's great. Yeah, you're working with people, and that kind of goes twofold. That's your client and that team of people, and also their people within the organization. So it's kind of a big umbrella. Wait a minute, where did we see that before? Isn't
Right.
that in your logo? Or no, you have a
Yeah.
parachute. Kind of
The
reminds me of like
parachute. Yeah.
the parachute in your, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That you have the parachute, which is really, really cool. I just want to give you a shout out. I'm a kind of a guy, a brand junkie, if you will. When I see a good brand, I see a good logo, I always got to give a prop. So that was thought
Oh,
out.
thanks.
Was that your idea?
Yeah, I do all the branding and marketing myself. The point, like you've said, right, is to really make human resources more approachable, right? And more fun. It doesn't need to be this stuffy business function. It doesn't need to be something, again, that's just red tape or like, you don't seek it out or seek advice from it unless you absolutely need to. We try to be a real partner with our clients and say, this isn't something that's meant to hinder your business. In fact, in my opinion, and I see it with all my clients, if you can harness the power of this function and your people, it's the results and the value is exponential in your business. So
Yeah.
yeah, we try to make there's a lot of great free content, by the way, on our website and our social, just like articles on tips for things that a lot of businesses don't know about, that could be really helpful. So check it out. But we try to make it fun, not stuffy and real world.
I'm going to have that on the screen right now. So if you're watching YouTube, you see it there. And again, remember, everybody, it's clickable. We're not going to make you spell it out in the show
Cool.
notes. So just go search it and click on it, and you'll be able to check that out. Emily, you've done a great job. Your website's cool. Like a lot of times you go to a site and it's kind of boring. You got a lot of, it's got the yellow, like it just catches your attention. It's easy to follow. It's easy to track. If you want more information, you know where to find it. It's not like you got to go to page 17 buried somewhere to get it. So I thought you guys did a really nice job with your website as well. We're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout. We'll be right back with Emily. We got to give our sponsors some love right here. And we will be right back with Emily.
Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you. And that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight. And Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting, so what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. Hey guys, it's Mike. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Navigator Bookkeeping. Look, for a long time, I ran my business without really understanding the full financial picture. I used my gut and my bank account balance to make decisions, which led to some poor choices and constant stress over my business's finances. I knew something needed to change. At the beginning of 2021, I made a decision that helped pave a more clear path for my business. I started working with Navigator Bookkeeping. Since then, my bookkeeping has been handled for me. I now understand the full financial story of my business, making important financial decisions much easier now, and it helps me plan for where my business is going. I highly recommend giving Navigator Bookkeeping an opportunity to help your business. Check them out at navigatingyourbooks.com. Again, that's navigatingyourbooks.com. It's time to know the full financial story of your business.
All right, we're back in action with Emily. Guys, remember you can connect with her on social media. All of her links are clickable in the show notes, as well as her website, which we'll have up on the screen right now for you as well. We kind of joked off camera about Buffalo Love, and I think I mentioned it once at the top of the show. I'm rocking the shirt right now. It's actually heavy on my heart. If you're not from the Buffalo area and maybe you don't understand Buffalo Bills saying "choose love," this is kind of out of the end racism movement as well. And in Buffalo, just a few weeks ago, We had the incident where a shooter went into Tops, and I guess it was racial profiling. He drove, I think, an hour and a half to get there and shot and killed. Emily, was it over 10, 12 people, I think, ended up dying.
Yeah.
So many families impacted by this, and our community came together as Buffalo always does, which is kind of bittersweet because you love to see it, but you don't want to see it because the reason that it's happening is because there was this mass murder going out, and it's just still heavy on our hearts. And so just giving a lot of love to the Buffalo community and the families that were impacted by that. The reason I also bring it up is just a couple days ago was the 4th of July as we record this, and Highland Park in, I believe, Chicago, right? Highland Park has had a shooting where I think 6 have now been listed as dead. And there was a 2-year-old, and don't hold me to this story, but I saw this yesterday, and I think it's true. A 2-year-old lost both of their parents to the event. So, 2-year-old has mom and dad, and an hour later, mom and dad are gone. There's no way I can put words to it. So I just want to say to everybody who's tunes into Mike DiCioccio, this is a place you can come, you can get love, you can fuel up on it. I have people like Emily on who are out here. She's doing the show because she loves what we're about. I know that because I talked to her about it, and she lit up when I told her about Mike DiCioccio, and she wanted to be on. I actually invited her to be on, I think, before she can even ask to be on the show. And it's people like Emily and the other 140 plus guests we have on the show that are bringing inspiring stories. They're lighting us up with just the right kind of content. I don't want to necessarily say we're a good news platform because I'm not just covering news events, but we're certainly putting out good into the world. And that's why I say be great and be grateful. Part of the greatness side is lifting others up, and the gratitude piece is when good things are happening, great things are happening. You don't just roll through it and say, "Oh, that's cool." We reflect back in gratitude. So I'm sorry I took an extra moment to say that, but it's very, very heavy on our hearts here in Buffalo, and especially our country. We need a lot of help kind of turning the page on this thing because it seems like it's happening way too much. If you want to add to that, please do, but I'd like to also give you your time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a story we could go into and we don't have enough time, but I don't know if you heard, there was another shooting at Delaware Park last week. Wasn't covered very well. I was actually there on the tennis courts, was in the line of fire. So I kind of have a real world experience. Yeah, not good. So there is a lot of people hurting out there. And when you talk about community and, I'm sure what you do, Mike, is the same thing. But, so many of my clients are local, some aren't. But whether we're talking like from the bigger community as a nation or just here in Buffalo or even, employers and businesses, like these are all different versions and scales of community. And we all have a part to play, right? So like, I know we're talking about HR and business here, but, an employer employs people, but that employer is also a person. And most of my clients are small businesses. So it's not large corporations. And, a lot of what I do is coaching them on, we all have a part to play, right, in that experience. So even the employment experience, if you want to have a positive employment experience, you have to be a good employee also. And your employer has to be a good employer. And it really boils down to that human level too of let's all kind of take a step back and understand the part that we have to play in this. And we all need to be compassionate. We all need to be empathetic, whether it's in an employment or business setting or, out in the community. And that'll help people that are hurting and struggling have some room to deal with that and work that out and hopefully find help.
It's almost like in family where like when things are fine, you just don't talk about the tough topics. But when something like this happens in the community, businesses start to talk about like, what's our safety procedures? And what would we do if somebody was just shot right here? How do we handle that? Like maybe they don't say it that directly, but they have to start thinking about some things that are kind of outside what you would normally think about. And it forces some tougher topics, but that's where it's all about people, like you said, come together in a community, but also in a company, in the smaller businesses that you serve. It's a tighter knit, just like a family, tighter knit family, right?
Absolutely. They are. Yeah. They are families. Yeah. They're run by families. Yeah.
Yeah. They're run by families. And and that's not to say no love for the bigger corporations. I mean, I'm not saying that either. Those are everybody, there's people and there's that, but both you and I do serve the small and medium-sized businesses and are really out to help, kind of like from the solopreneur to get their story told and make a difference in
Yeah.
the world as well. So really appreciate what you're doing. And as I said, your website lays it out really nicely. So kind of to add on to that idea and that topic, can you share 3 areas, maybe 2, 3, you pick, areas where small businesses kind of miss the mark? Is there something, for
Yeah.
example, like you're working with a company, and what 3 areas, if you sit down with them, do you feel like they're in dire need of your help?
Yeah, okay. I could think of 2 right away. And it's kind of, depending on the business setup, is it an established small business or startup? But the first I would say is universal, which is hiring. People just don't, either because they're uncomfortable or whatever, they just don't take it seriously enough. So if you think about it, the most, the easiest way to avoid introducing the wrong fit people and things into your business, or the most chaos in your business from a people standpoint, is just first of all making sure that only the right people are getting in. So with a lot of my clients, they don't put a lot of care into kind of defining the position that they're hiring for up front. Or if they do, they're not really reflecting that really well in a job posting, or even themselves really well. Like, you should be shouting out who you are, what you stand for, what it is you want, how you want someone to behave right in that. So it's the first kind of gatekeeping step of, hey, if this isn't you, then that's totally fine. Just, this isn't the place for you to work, and we're not the right fit for you. And but then even from there, the questions people ask, asking tough questions, right? You're inviting someone again into your little community, into your family, and you want to make sure you're pretty vigilant about investigating who they are and if they are going to be the right fit or if they have the right skills. So taking more time and care and putting what I would say often is more purpose into every stage of the employee life cycle, but even more so that hiring stage is such an easy, low-hanging fruit opportunity to set things right from the beginning.
Yeah. That's so true. It's just kind of missing that why, or that purpose, or what's going to set us apart from the rest, to kind of just assume, hey, we're operating, so now we got to hire some people, and we'll put some feelers out, and we'll get some people in here. But if they're not crystal clear and laser focused up front on what that looks like, then someone can come into the organization with not the right understanding. Maybe it's not the right fit of person, and now all of a sudden you have this new problem that would have not happened if it was taken care of up front. What about when you're working with a business and something is just like, wow, they really have it together? And is there something you see and you can kind of say, all right, cool, we know this is going to be a good partnership because they have this together? Would it be just kind of the flip where they have that together, or is there more to it?
Well, so my number 2 thing I'll kind of use for this answer too. And I think would be a great message for, your audience, which perhaps is a lot of solopreneurs that may be considering taking the leap to bringing on an employee or 2, or maybe they already have that. But the clients that I see that do really well are the ones that they understand it takes, that village or that community of people to make the business run. So I understand it's so hard. I mean, I struggle with it myself as a solopreneur that's started to build a team. Letting go, and really, if you spent all this time searching for and defining this person and this role, and you hired someone that has the skill set, letting go and getting out of the way and letting them do what they do best for you, which may be better than you could have done for yourself, right? We all have our own strengths and weaknesses. The entrepreneur may and often isn't the best business operations person, right? So getting out of the way and again, letting people really provide the value that they're there to provide, and empowering them to do that. And
Mic drop moment from Emily Martin right there. That was awesome. I love that. So true. You're right. Like, a lot of times people want to put their stamp on just about everything when they start off, and really in the beginning you don't have an option because you're doing all of it. But then as you can bring in the right people, you no longer need to be doing every single layer of it. And I like that you said, look, guys, sometimes be humble. Someone could do it better than you, right? Because that's more of their expertise. And a lot of times I'm saying we because I've experienced myself, have a hard time passing that torch. So that's really well said. Thank you for adding
and
that.
Having a coach or someone in your business, I mean, whether we end up coaching a lot in that way, but other people can do it as well. I mean, just having someone remind you of that is really helpful. But that's where a lot of the stuffy stuff about creating a structure and roles, and okay, I'm the entrepreneur, now I'm going to go to the president role. What does that include, and what am I delegating out, and letting people do that? Because good people have that spirit too, and they're going to want to, be empowered to do it and not be micromanaged. So again, to get great employees, you got to be a great employer, and vice versa. And it's kind of all just this, ecosystem and give and take relationship. So, yeah, that's a big lesson, I would say, for business operators.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing to talk to the young entrepreneurs in the audience dialed in, and this could be anybody. So if you're like, oh, well, I'm not young, don't worry. This question could be for you too. They've taken the leap into entrepreneurship. So they've taken that bold leap into entrepreneurship, and they're navigating in it. I'm kind of thinking of the analogy that comes to mind is they're on this like boat. They're out. They're smooth. They start off, it's a little bit smooth, and then all of a sudden they get in, and the waves seem to be coming in, crashing a little bit bigger. The water starts to get choppy as they get further out at sea. It gets murky. All of a sudden it turns to nighttime. You don't know where you're going, what you're looking at. Your navigation doesn't seem to be working. And all of a sudden a storm comes in. That kind of feels like entrepreneurship, doesn't it? You're out there, you kind of feel
roller coaster.
Roller coaster for sure. You're kind of out there by yourself, and you don't know when it's going to go up, when it's going to go down. So what advice or inspiration would you like to give to our entrepreneurs out there that just feel like they're literally not able to take one more up or one more down of that coaster, and they're not sure how they can move forward? But you just say, hey, look, you're not going to give up. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say two things. One, I don't know if anyone's heard of the concept of equanimity, but it's kind of something that I've learned from yoga. I'm a big yogi. And so the analogy here is when you're in a hard pose and your body's screaming at you to stop, give up, get out of the pose, your mind is screaming at you. You just breathe through it, take a breath and let it pass. And that's something I've been saying to a lot of clients through this really tough period of COVID with employees that are coming with counter offers that want more money, that's outrageous, or, just a lot of outside pressures coming in, right? And this will pass. And it's kind of like, you just have to keep doing the next right thing and taking the next right step, and things will work out. Just not being responsive and reactive to the moment to outside pressures. If you know that you're doing the right things, right, that will prevail in the end. And then second to that, I think just finding great partners. Again, we're Ally HR partners. We're an ally to you. So we're going to help you with the things that you don't know that you need to know about this. And not every service provider does that in the business industry, whether it's your CPA, a benefits broker, a payroll provider, finding really truly those businesses that want to help you, not just take your money and have you call them when you need help. Well, that's not helpful, right? Having them be proactive for you and partner with you to get you there. Those are the two lessons I've learned the most too in my own journey.
So good. In the beginning, we just want business. We want anybody who is willing to pay us to fork over some money so we can do what we're out to serve. I'm not trying to say that it's in a negative way. It's just like somebody wants to do business with us, we're jumping for joy. It's like Christmas morning. But at the same time, as you begin working with them, or if you even would have evaluated it up front and been more honest with yourself, like, is this the right fit? Is this someone we can best serve? Do they totally understand what we're going to provide for them? Maybe they seem like they're jumping into something with an excitement level, or you could tell when someone's maybe like if we were serving at a restaurant a 5-course meal, but someone keeps talking about something that's not on the menu, and we're like, we got to let them know at some point that that's not part of this, right?
Yeah.
That's either additional or whatever. So I think that happens where it's like easy to take that business on, but you got to make sure you're doing the right thing for them from the start. Otherwise, that relationship can go sour. So I'd say to the young entrepreneurs, definitely listen back to what Emily just said. And then also, it may be tough to be patient when you are hurting, and it could be financially. People could be up to their rent or their car payment or whatever.
Yeah, desperation
and family
kicks
stuff.
in, yeah.
Desperation kicks in. You get that desperation breath that we've talked about on this show before. That's even more detrimental than just not taking the deal, because you could really ruin it. So It's tough to be patient in the face of adversity. And that's when I'm not a yogi, but I understand what Emily's saying about breathe through it. To me, that is having that skill is so important to entrepreneurs. Maybe you're not a yogi, but just realize that there's a shitstorm that's going to come and hit you guys. And when it does, do you freak out? Are you calling everybody? I don't know what to do. Posting a YouTube video. My hair's on fire. Or do you kind of collectively breathe through it and come up with a game plan? And I'm a big sports guy. People have heard me use analogies on the show plenty of times. It's kind of like the quarterback. And now we got Josh Allen in Buffalo, so we're going to talk about him instead of talking about some other guys. We got Josh Allen. He's got 6 guys wanting to kill him coming across the line. They're diving at him. They're trying to knock him down. And he just finds a way to like step up, slide left, slide right, look down the field, move over here, look down the field. And then if he has to run, he runs. But he's kind of staying cool, calm, and collected as long as he can while people are literally trying to take him and plaster him into the ground. And that's what you have to be as an entrepreneur. You have to be a quarterback who, when all that's coming at you, you can shift your feet a little bit, keep your eye on the target. And the longer you keep your eye on the target, the better your chance of delivering your next move, in this case, a football down the field, right?
And it's experience and time and maturity. We've definitely seen, Josh Allen. I think one of the first times he went to the playoffs, what happens when he doesn't do that? And thank God those occurrences have been less frequent.
Yeah, he did the backwards lateral, which was like he was trying to make a play when the game seemed like they were winning 16-0 in that game. It was Houston Texans a couple years ago. Thought we had it. I remember I was with some friends. We were celebrating way too early, and as much as everyone hates that play, I know this is totally a tangent, and Buffalo people will appreciate it, but as much as everyone hates that play, it's a perfect analogy, but I also don't hate on him for making that play, because to me, that shows that my quarterback is literally doing everything he can to try to do something. And if the player he was trying to lateral it to kind of knew, it was like a heads-up thing, and they weren't on the same page. But I just feel like had that worked, everyone's like, oh my God, he makes this ridiculous play. But, at the same time,
went for it,
he had to learn, like, okay, we had a little bit extra time. I could still just keep the ball for one extra play and design something, which is what everybody was getting on him about. But hey, man, he's a fighter, and I don't want to take the dog, the fight out of the dog. Like, but now he's tamed it a little bit. So now he's like, he's like a bigger dog.
And maturity and time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So just like, that goes with your business. Wisdom, time, maturity, it all changes over time. Listening to shows like this and many others, reading books, working with a team like Emily has, that is the game changer instead of trying to do it all by yourself, right?
And surrounding yourself with people, Josh Allen obviously has Sean McDermott, who's a great coach. And I think his other teammates who all coach each other secondarily and, Diggs and all that, like surrounding yourself or having people around you that can check you when you need to be checked and, give you help when you need help and reinforcement. Like that is huge as well, which again brings it all back to people too. So
I have one more question. I always like to use this as the bookend. This was a fantastic interview. I know it went really fast and we had a little bit shorter time together today, but you killed it. That was so informative. Gives us a lot to think about. I know you have to run, but if you can kind of summarize real quick, you're the author and protagonist in your own life story, and you get to write the ending. And God willing, you continue to live a long, prosperous life. You're looking back and you're reflecting on it, and you get to define your legacy. What would you like that to be?
I think I have the, fortune of I'm beginning to create it now, which is just, even if it's a small scale to the, local business community here or a little bit beyond, just being helpful, giving other business owners, whether again, they're entrepreneurs or small business owners that are inheriting businesses from families that are 100-year-old, giving them peace of mind and more enjoyment in their day-to-day and running their business. And because again, they're often responding and pulling their hair out to these, I help with specific people issues, but helping them create more peace in their lives in that way to enjoy their business, and have it be fulfilling and not a headache. And I get to do that right now every day still. So
you're making HR way less than the principal's office and more of a people coaching, engaged with the team moving forward in the same direction. So very much like how the Bills are running their organization. And it's no surprise that they're winning right now because there's a culture. Culture is all about people. So this is a great episode. I really enjoyed talking with you today. Any last shout outs or anything you want to share with our audience before heading out?
No, I mean, that was great. Thanks for that question too, because it just, like mentioned a couple times, bringing it back to the why. And again, whether it's you doing it in your own big global life or in your business, I mean, that is really the point, to remember why you're doing what you do and try to, like, if you're not aligning everything else you do, whether it's hiring or, disciplining or whatever it is with that why, then what are you doing? Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's just such a good place to bring
And
it
all
back
it takes is just to recenter ourselves. If we get away from it and recenter ourselves. So if this episode did anything for our audience to help it recenter them and kind of put that compass back out there for them to go find. So you've done that for me with the HR side of things, and I really am grateful for you. You know what to do. Be great, be grateful. And everybody who's tuning in right now, remember, choose love.
I'd like to give a huge shout out to everyone for tuning in, especially those who listen all the way to the end to hear this message. Seriously, I appreciate you, and my guests do as well. Giving a quick reminder to subscribe to this show. It's completely free and will allow you to receive notifications when new episodes are released. If you'd like to provide a tip as a gift, you can do so via patreon.com/mikedup. It's spelled MIKED up. Patreon.com/mikedup. You can give as little as $1 per month or as much as you'd like. Every dollar is greatly appreciated and completely unexpected. Appreciate your reviews and your messages coming in on social as well. Keep them coming. Your feedback is valuable and absolutely means the world to me. You can check out more episodes and content at mikeduppodcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, and it's at Mike DiCioccio, MikeDiCioccio. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys know what to do. Be great and be grateful.